All right, we're gonna call the May meeting of the New Point Town Council in service. Please, for pledge of allegiance, please. And remove your hats. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now, first thing up, the minutes and the financial things are on copy, and they are on the desk in the office. Is that right? Last month's minutes?
Yes.
And if anybody wants to see them, that's where the copies are, okay?
I'm waiting for this month's minutes to be signed, and I'll have them in.
We all got them all signed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we have to approve them. You need a vote on that? I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I second it.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's carried, so the minutes are approved. Now, is there anything else with that before we go to patron comments? All right, patron comments, we've got 4, 5, 6 in the stands. Anybody have anything to say? Yes.
We've been sending out letters to all these people about cleaning their places up.
Yep.
When are you gonna start buying them?
That's
I mean,
gonna,
all last summer to these papers.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do that again this summer?
no, their time is running
May 18th,
May the 18th.
anything that's not been taken care of or started, it'll go to Spencer.
We turn it over to the lawyer and he's gonna handle it from there. We do have some stuff with that office trailer down below me, down there on that street. He's got a certain date to have that out of there by. And if you look on Facebook, it's for sale. If you've got $20,000, that's what he wants for that building, not for the lot, just the building. I don't know if yeah. But anyway, yeah, lot's not big enough to put anything on. But yeah, it's gonna be turned over to the lawyer, and we'll see what's gonna happen from there. Okay, any other patron comments? Okay, next up, Mike, you got anything to address with us?
Just that, with the gas and with petrol, is that it would probably be a good idea to recommend to them that they put a grinder pump in on their side of it.
Right.
And that grinder pump will help, macerate or chew up stuff coming out of the gas station there before it gets to yours.
Okay,
And stops yours up. Because yours is, that, I mean, I don't know what the cost of those are, I could probably check, and I can probably send you some some specifications,
they're
because that would
10,000.
be for commercial.
Oh, the grinder pump, okay.
Yeah, the grinder pump would be a commercial grinder pump. And then they wouldn't have to, go back out and look at, and try to, figure out what's going on with that grate.
Okay.
That grate's not doing, not doing anything with that. If it gets stopped up, they pull it, and then everything goes by. Looks like it's going to your station. So it would probably be a good idea if you have this, if you have any other businesses come in, like the gas station.
Mhm.
Might be not a bad idea to put them on a grinder pump.
Okay, because they'll have to pay for it, we're not, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea.
And then, so the grinder pump is before it gets into your main.
Mhm.
And it rides up there, because I think they did say they could have like a restaurant there too.
Well, they're gonna serve food,
Yeah. so
and they're gonna have a deep fryer,
Yeah, so.
and I already told them, you gotta have a grease pit, a grease trap, or whatever you call that thing.
I mean, you've got residential grinder pump stations, and you've got commercial grinder pump stations. And for the most part, they'll take care of most of the stuff coming out. Basically, when we have grinder pumps in, we can lower the diameter of the pipe,
Mhm.
once on the main, you can lower it because most of its macerated is already chewed up and stuff.
Okay.
It flows better that way. I don't like grinder pump stations, but it's just, it might be a good idea for them, for the commercial guys that have, especially if you got food service. And the other gas station, he took over that pump, so that's his baby.
Mhm.
But he still calls it, I guess.
Which one?
on the corner.
Oh, the BP on the corner?
Yeah.
I haven't heard nothing from them guys they've been really good about everything. Randy, what do you think of that grinder pump before it hits our main?
Yeah, they used to have one, New Point used to have, or Shortstop used to have one. But whoever's, Gary, whoever, last one they put in, it's not a grinder pump. So
Okay,
Yeah, it's not.
it's ideal to have one for sure.
okay. Well,
The only other thing, the state didn't pass the asset management plan requirement, for the IURC. So we'll have to go ahead and, put that together. We'll put that together for you.
okay.
Issue there is, I think, years ago, they let you guys go to home rule with your rates. And I think they like to pull you all back into IURC. The complaint I have about the IURC, it costs you money. It costs you more money, for, sometimes minor rate increases. Having to, get a rate consultant and stuff like that to make a presentation before the IRC for your rate. I mean, that's why they went to home rule, because it just cost damn much. I mean, small town's $18,000 just to go to the IRC. Didn't make any sense.
That's like having a state audit.
Pretty close. But that's, and that's just for a rate increase.
Oh, boy.
So they went to that self-rule, which I thought was a good idea. And the only ones that are not on self-rule are the very large municipalities and then commercial, industrial. Those guys are all, they stayed with the IURC. They had to stay with there. But small towns, made a lot more sense to put it in your hands. You're going to be responsible for your public anyway.
Yeah, our last one was 10%. It was $6.
Yeah.
I believe, wasn't it, hot ladies?
But you've been low for a lot of years.
We've been low. You make sure you tell that to the public here. Okay, no, we're good.
Well,
We're good.
Average wise, I mean, even your size town, I was just in, Clayton this morning, and they were down like $30 a month or whatever, but, there was the stuff they're doing, they had to go up to 60, 64, and that was, it seemed like it was a big chew, right? But, when, they looked around at all the other municipalities, they were low. I mean, they weren't the lowest, but they were, just kind of average for, versus $90 and $100 and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
You guys went, what, 20 years without a rate increase or
Yeah.
something?
That's what I was told you.
Yeah. So that first one, and we didn't do a full rate increase on that one either, because I think we wanted to chop it up into sections, so.
I know you can only do so much every year.
3%.
As long as it doesn't rain a whole lot, we're pretty
Yeah,
good.
you can go up to 5,
Okay.
get away with that, Well, you can go up to 5 and then you have to send it to the IURC. So that's another thing legislature looked at and said, well, if it's over 5%. But it's not, it's just that you have to show why you're doing it. You
Right,
can't just do it.
right.
You have to say, well, we need it because of, you show your expenses versus your revenues. And if you're gonna do any projects, that's gotta go into that rate increase as well, showing what kind of projects, how much the project's gonna cost. So, it is what it is. But as a result of that, they want you to do an asset management plan, how much pipe do you have? If you've got a wastewater treatment plant, what's in the plant, if you got trucks, all kinds of everything, whatever your assets are for your utility. They wanna know what those assets are. And then the age and stuff like that. So,
We got a Bobcat, and that's about it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you got pipes in the ground.
Yeah.
And you got,
And our pumps should be getting one back for the town down there anytime. And the one for the truck stop should be in anytime. The big expensive one was when we bought that new one for the town, but we're using it for backup right now. And that's 16. And the other ones are 10 over there at the truck stop.
but you have no control over your laterals. So
No.
those, isn't there. I mean, you have them, but it's not part of it's not part of your assets. Just your mains, your manholes, any kind of pump stations you have, those are all part of that. Any kind of major equipment you have. Like, so you don't have a treatment plant, so, you're lucky there.
That's a good thing.
You're not, well, you aren't, well, fortunately, you're metered through, your water company, to Napoleon. So you're metered there, so, you know, that's a good thing. Whether you think, whether you believe that or not, that's a good thing, at least you're metered. So, yeah, you know, versus having a flat fee. It's fair to have it metered, because all the complaints we usually get from citizens are, well, there's 8 of us, you know, they got 8 people next door, and there's only 2 of us. Why are we paying the same amount that they're paying? That's what you get into.
We've got,
It's not really fair to have a flat rate, because, you know, they're definitely gonna use more.
we've still got, what, a dozen on wells here in town.
Well,
And I don't,
they're flat rate though, if you're not well, so nothing you can do about that. You cannot force households to take water.
Right.
That's by
that's
state.
what they, yeah, when they first come into town here, you had your option, but most people took it because the wells were no good. But now they've cleaned up since the sewer's been put in.
Especially if you got treated, stuff like that. I mean, if you got iron content or manganese or, you know, most people would rather have water. A few people, oh, my well water's great, it's okay, well, whatever. And you don't know what's in it, it just looks good. Well, that's clear, so yeah, that's, you know, those bugs that are in there, they're not really big, so you won't be able to see them. We had, Valparaiso, they had a superintendent that would go to the utility board meetings, and he would bring a jar of the wastewater that went through the wastewater treatment plant, and then a jar of water that went through the water treatment plant. And he put them up there on the desk there and says, well, which is which? And he said, well, whichever one you'll drink, and he drank out of both. That's how, you know, well, of course, they put a lot of chlorine in them. I know you wouldn't do that, but he was just trying to make a point that, you know, you really can't tell when something's wastewater or something's water, so.
As far as our water is concerned, I think the whole town is really happy with Napoleon water. It's pumped from Osgood to Napoleon into us. True.
Some people, I mean, there's a lot of buildup in like water heaters and stuff.
I think you're gonna get that.
They don't soften their water,
Yeah,
and I don't think they put them through pressure filters either, I think they just pump them and chlorinating them.
Yeah.
If that's all they do, then that's all they do. I don't think they got a treatment plant. So they're taking on, you know, it's well water, and basically,
mhm.
chlorinated.
It's coming out of the quarry hole, I believe.
Yeah. So you're gonna have, you know, they don't provide softening, so if you want softened water, then you have to do it yourself.
Mhm.
And whatever else is in the water, right? So if you have your water tested and has stuff in it you need filters for, so you're gonna have to attach the filters, you know, as it comes in, you're gonna have to put filters in there to take whatever that is out.
I personally haven't had any problems with it.
I haven't
We
either.
haven't either. I had a well-known plumber in Greensburg told me, you guys are very fortunate down here. You've probably got the best water in this whole area. He said, you know, that water coming from down there is really good water. So I said, hey, great to hear, you know.
Well, the thing you have to remember is they are, you know, they're regulated by the state.
Mhm.
So they have to test their water. They have to test their water for heavy metals and other, you know, they have a whole list of things that they have to test their water for, which you wouldn't normally test for on your own well.
Mhm.
So, but they have to test for everything, they have to test for it yearly, and you probably get them in the mail. You'll get a yearly report in July about all the stuff they tested for. Now, most people probably don't look at it, well, you know, as long as it's, you know, there's no cautions or warnings or anything like that. You know, it's just the numbers, and they explain what those numbers are to a certain extent. But at least you know that somebody is checking it. You know, that they're regulated by the state to produce water that, you know, will pass, you know, pass regulations. Versus you doing it yourself out of your well. You know, basically, you want to know if how hard the water is. So if you get a soften it, right, get calcium carbonate, or if you get higher iron. You know, but other than that, there's very few things you can taste in the water, unless you got hydrogen sulfide, something, rotting, and then you got to treat for that. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is. So I think it wasn't a bad idea for you guys to go ahead and get their water. They probably needed you anyway. I mean, it helps for them to have more customers.
This town needed that water. And then once we got that water, then the sewer come right behind it. I think the
Well-
government liked it that way. And that's the way it is. Water's gotta be before the sewer. It's,
Yes. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna do a project, you wanna do a water project first.
Yeah.
Because that's, that's stuff you're drinking, stuff like that.
And one thing about it here with this town, the water lines and the sewer lines are at a max of 35 years old, right?
Mhm.
That's about how old, we don't have the old steel lines and all that. We don't have the clay tile for your sewer and all that. I mean, everything's,
Yeah, everything's plastic.
PVC.
and it's
Yeah,
good.
it's all
You dig it
PVC.
down, you cut it apart, and put a piece in it, and you're,
Yeah, we got a lot of my projects, they're still got the clay lines, they got the vitrified clay, and some of them have the old clay. You kind of use for farm tile.
Mhm.
yeah.
Which is, except for its bell, but, it is what it is, so.
It's-
VC, the town I was working with today, they're having a slip line theirs, put a liner in it because of all the problems they've got in that with inflow and infiltration. You guys still have that issue, you can see from the bills you're getting, that you're still having inflow and infiltration. And people just need to understand that, if you have to pay that extra money for them to go ahead and treat that water, because they're gonna surcharge you,
Mhm.
then, your rates can go up as a result. So it's better, if you don't want your rates going up, then, disconnect yourself from your, the sums from your sewer, and make sure your downspouts just go out in the backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long, but typically even where I live, where with high water, it didn't last long. I mean, half a day sometimes if you're in a really low area, but it doesn't go for days. That's completely inundated. So, I mean, if that were the case, and we were talking about storm stuff, if that's where it sits there for days, that's a whole different situation. But that's not typical, that it's gonna sit there for days. Unless you just have, unless you, in a swamp to begin with, or a wetlands to begin with, which that's not unusual. To have buildings put in wetlands. So, I mean, you have to do what you gotta do, but you gotta make people understand that the cost of treating that wastewater, because it goes to Batesville, and Batesville charges you for that, kind of like almost a per gallon basis, basically.
Right.
That it's gonna cost you, the more that goes in there, as a result of people not doing what they should be doing, making sure that their subs are not connected to your sewer, their downspouts are not connected to the drain, the footers, which then go to yourself and then go out. It just doesn't make any sense where you're gonna start charging people. So a few people, a few of the people are gonna cost everybody else
Right.
money as a result of, the increased rates.
So while we're on this subject, I'm gonna read this letter that's gonna be sent to every resident that is on the New Point sewage. It's dear utility customer and property owners, in the continuing effort to keep utility costs down, the New Point Town Council is asking customers to refrain from diverting rain groundwater from basement sub pumps, gutter downspouts, and sewer cleanouts into the sanitary sewer system. During many rain events, as much as 275,802.14 gallons per month of rain groundwater, in addition to the sewage, enters the town of New Point wastewater collection system. The system experiences disruptions as a result, such as equipment failures. Over the past 4 months, the average bill to Batesville Utility has been $12,253.02. This past month, the bill was $16,820.07. In 1990, the New Point Town Council passed ordinance number 1990-2 and 1990-4, which prohibits the introduction of any cross connections, spouts such as downspouts, sub pumps, footing tiles, uncapped lateral sewer cleanouts, or other water that is not directly the result of internal plumbing used to enter the utility sanitary sewer system. The town council has determined that these ordinances require stricter enforcements due to the increasing cost to treat the large volume of wastewater pushed to and further treated by the Batesville water system. The smoke test conducted by Strand and Associates of the sanitary sewer system had revealed many cross connections concerns throughout the town. At the time, these were supposed to have been taken care of. Please reevaluate your residence, business to determine if violations of the ordinance is occurring. Please make the necessary improvements and let our office know of the adjustments made. Voluntary cooperation is preferred before enforcement by the town. Please take this seriously. We don't want to put a rate increase on at this time, but we will if these illegal hookups aren't taken care of. Any questions or concerns can be addressed at monthly New Point Town Council meetings. These meetings are held the second Monday at 6 p.m. of each month by contacting the office at 812-663-7905. New Point Town Council. Please, and I realize we had a lot of rain, but we're getting, usually our bill runs what, 7,000 to 9,000 a month?
Yes, yes.
And now with a lot of rain, we're jumping way up there. Yes,
Could we consider a flat rate, like a $6 charge a month for rainwater
for downspouts and that,
for everybody?
oh, for everybody.
My daughter lives in Newcastle.
Yeah.
On her bill, it says flat out, rain charge, $6 a month. And she pays it all year long. Then when we have the bills, then they got the money to pay it.
Okay. I don't know anything, but it's a thought.
I didn't.
I know.
It's a surcharge, you gotta,
Greensburg went through a thing like that with, they was having so much water, instead of going into their drainage system,
Storm drains.
storm drains, people were hooking into the sewer. Somehow Greensburg got in there and figured out who was doing it and how, and they,
well,
Cut
when I
it
was
way back.
when I was up north, we used to check the lines yearly.
Yeah.
But we had a pretty large crew, but, we checked them yearly. And you can do a surcharge, stormwater, storm system surcharge. Typically, those are done, you got those, I'd have to look at that one, see if that's, a lot of times we'll have a $6 charge for stormwater, for the stormwater system. To keep,
Right.
To
I
keep
think that's what Greensburg went to.
keep it, to fix it and clean out
So you're saying that's a total different system than what the.
but they'll charge you. It's like $6 a month, that's not unusual for that kind of system, to clean out your grates and stuff like that, and make sure,
Okay.
that's all working. You guys here don't have much of a storm system.
We do not have much at all of a storm system.
And if anybody thinks that it would be worthwhile having your own wastewater treatment plant, it's not.
Mm-mm.
When Strand approached us,
$12,000 a month is high, it's high for you guys for sure, but if you had your own treatment plant, it would cost you a lot more. And in this day and age, putting a new treatment plant in, we typically, when they price those out, then they go to bid, engineers usually look at it maybe 10% above or below what they anticipate the bid would be, but we've seen 20-30% above. So, I mean, these projects that used to cost $3 million, $4 million are now $8 to $10 million.
I know
That's
when,
just a matter of,
when Strand looked at our drainage, it was 1.3 million. True, Gary. I mean, we had 3 different areas. It was up there, was it not? And there's no way this town can do that, so.
well,
And the part that scares me though, with putting a $6 thing on it, and people that have their sub pump, they're just going, with $6, I'll just keep it hooked up.
That's true.
typically, this, like I said, the $6 is usually to maintain your stormwater system. I'd have to look at, see exactly how they do it, why they're doing it that way. But if you have a system, people can hook up to that. They can run their line out to that storm sewer and go out there.
Yeah.
Most of the time, most people, what would I do with it?
Yep.
Well, in your backyard, my backyard's all flooded, and, that kind of stuff, and then they kind of whine about that. And then we've had people that, they'll take see the problem is that people, they'll take the stormwater gutter out, they'll put an elbow, but they'll put the elbow right next to the foundation. The elbow just go right to the foundation. And so they go further out, away from the foundation. They'll go back down to the foundation and get picked up by the sump anyway. So it doesn't make any sense to just have a little elbow on there where it drains right down next to the foundation It gets picked up by your floor, your drain towel, which goes in and goes to the sump pump if it does. So, I mean, it's not, all your funders now, the USDA, SRF, they want systems to regionalize. Right now, if you guys were wanting to do a whole new project, you'd still be going to Batesville.
Mhm.
You'd do exactly what you did, 27 years ago, 37 years ago. So now they require what you did 30 years ago.
Well, I'm happy that
It's called
we did,
regionalization.
we did what they did. We were pumping at the Batesville. It's so
Well, it
much.
made sense.
Yeah.
Because, after 35 years, most of the equipment in your plant would have been shot anyway.
We're,
Concrete tanks are not going to, but most of the mechanical equipment would be.
I think
And what lasts 35 years?
we're in pretty good
Not
shape.
much. So, you guys, they did it the right way. They regionalized with Batesville to take care of the treatment process. And then you got the collection system that you got to take care of. And that's not untypical. And the funders right now, most of them, if they want you to look at regionalization, they want you to look at that first before they'll lend you any kind of money for doing anything. But you imagine 150 customers or 200 customers at the cost of things, you really can't afford it. It's hard enough maintaining your collection system. Most of you guys are gravity for the most part of it. So that's good. It's better than having a bunch of grinder stations because those you have to take, those are 10 to 15 years and then you have to replace those, at least the pump part of it.
Okay.
So, I mean, they did the right thing by going to Batesville. So nobody can fault you guys for going to there, even though they're charging you for that, but that's their system. I mean, they have to treat the water, whether it's storm water or wastewater, they gotta treat it. And it doesn't help them to have a lot of extra water in there either. That's why they're gonna surcharge it for it. So, I mean, it's not like you guys are doing anything wrong, but from the citizen side, from your side of it, getting more people off of the system, getting them not to do that, keeps your costs down.
Okay.
And that's what you want to do, and that's what you wrote the letter about, that's what you had Strand look at the system. Look at your system, make a determination of how bad the problem is, which you already knew was bad, but you didn't know exactly where. So they went through your system and looked at your pipes and everything else. So that gave you a good idea of what needs to get done. The problem with it is even, it's the laterals, the line coming from the house to the main. A lot of those could be shot, and you could get a lot of stormwater right through there. But if they don't have cleanouts, there's no way to check. That water's just draining right into their laterals and going right into your system. So you're not gonna take care of it all. There's just no way. Because you don't have any control over those laterals. Unless the thing fails, where actually there's a sinkhole, as a result of, soil getting sucked into it, you're not gonna know that there's a problem on that lateral. So you have seepage into the laterals, you go out to the main, and that's it. I would say that probably 50% of your stormwater is probably coming from laterals.
Okay.
And the other 50% you can take care of, but you need to get, chip away as much as you can at what you can. And then when you have, people have new lines put in, new laterals put in, or a new house come in, make sure that, they're going by specifications, what's required of the line itself. And then have it inspected, making sure it's put together correctly. One of the other issues that we got sometimes, they put these lines in, the state allows individuals to put the laterals in yourself. And you as an individual can put your own line in, you can dig it and put it in there. You don't have to hire anybody, you just have to have the willpower to want to go ahead and dig it in. But a lot of times, if you don't have anybody that knows how to inspect those lines, or they bury them before you give them a chance. I've had that happen too. The guy buried a line, and we went out there and says, "Well, we need to inspect your line." Well, I already buried it. Well, now you can dig it up because we need to inspect it. So that's the kind of stuff you need to be able to do. But you're doing the right thing by sending those letters out. Getting and making people aware that you can have a rate increase as a result of not doing something, and then nobody likes a rate increase. You're gonna get a lot more people angry about a rate increase than you are, with a letter like that. And it's a few people that know about, well, I'm complying. Well, most of you probably are complying. But those few that aren't complying is what's gonna cost the rest of you, to have a rate increase as a result of them not complying.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you got 10 or 15 out of, 160, they're gonna cost you more money just because they're stubborn about it, they wanna do it.
Okay.
So, it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
You gotta try what you gotta try. And hopefully it works and, things get better. I thought there for a while, things were getting better.
When it was dry.
Yeah. Well, that's true too. Dry helps.
Yeah.
Drought doesn't help, but dry helps.
Okay. Okay, Mike.
So, anyway, we'll work on the asset management plan and get that for you. I forgot if there's a deadline on that or not. They just enacted it, so yours is not gonna be very hard to put together. We'll look at the stuff that Strand put together from that PER. And that should tell us give us an idea of most of what you have as assets in the ground. So we'll get that done. You put it on file. There's a letter you have to send to the IRC or IFO or whatever that just stipulates that, yes, I do have an asset management plan. It's just, you don't have to send them an asset management plan. You have to send them a letter saying that you have one and it's available for review. So that's about all, other than that, I don't think we got anything else going.
All righty, thanks, Mike. Randy, do you have anything? I know we're trying to get the pumps back as quick as possible.
Yeah, I was gonna see if you guys had any dates, or you guys kind of been in contact with him. I was gonna see when you guys knew. Do you have any info on that?
We called, didn't you call Quality Repair and the lady wasn't in?
No, she was hopefully, she wanted to last week have us a quote,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't receive one yet. So I'm thinking it's gonna be, hopefully this week we'll get the quote, and then we'll know. The pump for the lift station's not supposed to be until May 22nd.
That's what, a week away? That'd be good. Now, the one down here at the lift station in town here, those guys, Quality Repair, will set it back in.
Yeah.
And do everything. I noticed that red light's still on. Is that because the other pump's
Yeah,
not
it's
there?
'cause that pump's-
Okay. Well, we get that one up and going, then get this other one in, then we're gonna be,
Yeah.
we got the other new one for down there yet. I didn't want to put it in yet, so
Be in good shape.
we'll be in good shape. And I will talk to Mr. Copeland about seeing about a grinder over there at the truck stop. So, see what they say, and then, I'm gonna talk to, Doug Westerfeld with Area Plan about the new gas station, if it gets approved by Area Plan. All we said was yes to it. We do not do the setbacks, all that stuff, that's all handled by Area Plan.
But the requirement of having to put a grinder pump is on.
Right.
You could actually go ahead and require them to put a grinder in,
I will,
especially if you're gonna have a restaurant.
Yeah.
Facility.
well, it's just a cooking facility. There's just gonna be like a grocery or a convenience store.
What, microwave,
Probably pizza and.
microwave.
Yeah, they'll have that stuff, and they may have,
Well, as long as they don't have a restaurant.
right,
No, we just have, the same guys are down here, have one in town,
yeah.
in Greensburg, and they have like fried chicken strips, stuff like that. They don't have anything
You
left.
still got fryers.
Yep.
So that's what most of the small gas stations got.
Yeah.
That kind of.
So we'll make sure we get that taken care of with Doug, and when they do get that built in that, Randy, me and you will go over and take a look at that before they bury it in the ground.
I'll make sure they got a grease trap.
Yeah, make sure all that's in order. Okay, Randy,
He did tell you that he was going to have.
Randy, anything else, everybody?
No, just,
Okay,
nothing for this.
I still got to get you a weed
Need
eater.
some weed killer. I got a weed eater.
Okay,
I need some weed killer
Okay.
around here and the truck stop lift station.
okay, you want to kill all, or
Weeds everywhere.
you want something that kills everything, right? Weed and grass.
I know they usually use that ground clears. What we
Okay.
use there.
We can get
And,
some.
I think my dad used to go to Gilman's and get it from there and have them bill you guys off. That's how you want me to do it, or
Have to check and see if they
I
have.
think there's an account over there.
We have a tax exempt thing, but we can give him the tax exempt.
I'll give you,
Did we give you the copy of that tax exempt?
I've got a paper, yeah.
Okay, you take it down there, hand it to them, put it on file, and tell them to bill the town.
tell them to make a copy and put it on. what you want.
If you would, please, that will work.
Yeah,
What else do you need? Anything?
that's it.
I still got them white uniforms I gotta get you.
Yeah, I probably need that anyway, but
Okay.
unless something really goes down.
Well, I've been over there and I don't,
D-Day,
they pulled that last pump, boy, wow.
you gotta wash your clothes.
Yeah. All right,
You have a Tyvek suit for me?
item number 4 is alley, streets and roads. Like everybody knows, we have a new 4-way stop over here on 46. The gentleman that owns the BP over there, what's his name?
Sonny?
Sonny, has asked us, Andy, about a crosswalk. Cause then that's what I told him, we gotta call the state. We need to call Mr. Spears with EMA first or go right to the state?
Nope, that's the
Let's
all across the highway, it's
stay with
not
you.
responsibility.
Cause there's a lot of kids that walk across there, I guess.
Any idea who we contact for state?
I would start with the, district, group, which would be down to Seymour. And that's the district for this area would be the Seymour area, or the Seymour office. Start there.
When those guys put that in, they put it in a hurry. Or, I mean, a few weeks ahead, but that day when they really did it, it was like a bunch of bumblebees over there.
I thought there was gonna be a lot more notification of it as far as on the highway. That's really worried me because there's not, and I thought there was gonna be something notifying people before the 45-mile-an-hour sign. And that didn't happen either.
5-7.
There's some, they, what they consider the notification, they had them signboards out there for about a week. It said
Yeah.
on or after this date, intersection changes, that's their notification.
Yeah,
Because I've been questioned as to why they don't have signs or flashing lights on the 45-mile-an-hour sign down here, and I said, I have no idea, that's the state of Indiana.
Well, just having a payment crosswalk is not a big deal for them, but if you have a push button,
Yeah, it's on there.
that'll be more money.
I don't know what they would put in, I don't know.
I don't know either. That's
That's
all state.
They'll put a crosswalk, they'll put the painted crosswalk in, they don't have a problem with that. It's if you have an automated, well, you know, there's not.
I don't think they're gonna put an automated thing in there because there's no other power.
Where you have
No
the
power.
red lights. No,
Yeah,
no, they won't do that.
yeah, because they're flashing red lights on them stop signs are solar.
Okay.
Yeah, they sent me a paper if I wanted to buy 2 of them.
They're a little expensive.
Just a little.
Yeah, we've got it in the city, they've got where you can, we got stop lights where you can press the button.
But,
Yeah,
they put that 4-way in down there at Napoleon. Right there on 421. It's right in the middle of town there to slow that traffic down because otherwise it was.
The problem with the crosswalk will be, we don't have sidewalks.
Right.
Up to the crosswalk.
Mhm.
It's true.
That is an issue.
So their question is gonna be, so where do I put a crosswalk?
Yeah.
That's true. When we call and make sure you tell them we don't have sidewalks.
No, you're right, you're right.
So where they're gonna have to, that they may.
personally,
don't
I
know
think,
what the state will say. I'm not gonna guess, I'm not gonna speculate.
I personally think it's safer, walk across there now
Oh, yeah.
than what it was before. I mean, there was never a crosswalk there before, and there was no stop sign there before. You just took your chances.
Yeah.
Now, at least, there's a stop sign there that people are supposed to be stopping for, but, in a 2-day period, they stopped over 60 people for running stop signs. 2 deputies sitting right there and wide open, nothing to obscure the vision of the police cars. They blow right through the stop sign.
So anyway,
well, it is a big change. I feel that it's a big change.
I think it's a big change and it's for the better.
I think it will be. I just hope to God there's not a battle
Yeah,
before
yeah.
they get it figured out.
Well, I don't get it where, you're supposed to have awareness, right? So you're supposed to look, be looking. So, I don't know if that's a good excuse or not. Well, it wasn't there before. Well, you didn't see? Probably good size, it's blinking.
Same with the speed limit signs, they don't supposed to be paying attention to.
There is,
Speed limit signs when you see them.
there are two other things on the alley, streets and roads. A gentleman asked me about the low underpass sign, and it just says no trucks. And he's a truck driver. He told me, he said that sign's so little that most drivers just don't even but they'll pay attention when they get down there too far and then they have to back all the way up. He suggested a bigger sign. We looked at one, a 3x4 is what he suggested, that's $1,000.
No, there are signs for regulations, regulation signs, we're not putting up something that big. There's regular signs you don't post that are.
So you can't put a bigger sign up for that.
We can, but it's required 2 posts to be dropped into the ground.
Right.
We're gonna have to call 811, figure out where all the utilities are at, have them come out and mark everything. And set it up, it's gonna be 2 posts side by side.
Yeah.
Somebody's
It's-
yard.
What he answered to that, or I said something, he said that truck drivers on a small sign, they're,
I'm gonna venture to say that as high as they sit,
Mhm.
they aren't paying attention because
Right.
they're sitting up that high. You can look right down 850 and see that's a ton.
okay.
I'm sorry. We can put another sign up further up if we need to, which is not,
There's 2
we
signs.
got additional signs.
Yeah, from the time you turn off 46, there's one and then another one.
And
There's
they
2.
got run over by trucks.
Yeah.
So is there just one of them?
Well,
If you know,
I don't
if you know where.
No, there's none.
There's none through that 4-way there on the right? There's one
There's a
there.
sign right out there.
I'm talking between 46 and the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones that was there, they got ran over.
Yep.
So can we put another one like them up there?
So we have an additional sign, add
Okay.
one more post.
Okay.
I figured up and got the online, what the cost just to replace all the signs that are currently bent, ran over, been replaced, need to be back to the right size. $1,200 is what it's gonna cost to get it. Be restocked with stop signs, posts,
Yeah.
breakaways, and some new street number signs.
Can they put the post in concrete?
No,
No, okay.
Here's the other question that's
What have
been,
breakaways?
been brought up. We have 3 different speed limit signs in this town.
that has to be fixed by ordinance.
Okay, well,
I
we can,
think it has
yeah.
to be a citywide ordinance that allows for the setting of the speed limit to be.
we've got 20, we've got 25, and we've got 30.
I only have 30 speed limit signs in the garage. So
See, here's my, if you have it at 30, they'll go up to 40. That's just the way it works. And you don't write tickets for 39 mile an hour, do you?
In town, it's difficult in
Okay.
this small town to be able to pull up, get a radar lock.
Okay,
There's a distance in the dynamics of radar, right? So it makes it a little bit difficult if I pull out on 210 and somebody's coming at me to get a good lock because it's so fast and so quick. There's things we gotta do to be able to do that. So it's difficult to get locks and good radar readings.
okay.
I'm saying it can be done, like 200 out here is nice and long and straight, we can. Not radar people like crazy, they'll be like, oh, the fly through there, they're 25, 30 mile an hour.
So what does everybody think of what the speed limit ought to be here in town?
Just because you want a 55 range.
I think
What is,
they're-
do you members think?
Oh, yeah, it's
Because
probably not
we got too
safe.
many kids playing on the road.
We got a lot of them playing on
We
the
have those sidewalks.
Well, I can tell you
There's
this,
always golf carts. and
what's it been, 3 years ago? It was discussed, lowering the speed limit to 20 mile an hour. Yeah.
Well,
So-
the streets are pretty narrow, and there's plenty of kids around, so.
And it's getting worse. like-
I know when you go into St. Paul, it's 20.
You don't have either?
No, I'm using, regular radars, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have radar.
So if,
I bet you will.
we'll have to pass an ordinance, but we're not gonna do that today.
Okay,
There's
so do you
usually
want
about-
me to go on with an ordinance, or do you?
Well, how does the
you guys-
board feel? Do you feel like 20 is,
I think 20 would be good. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have a problem. Because, like I said, I know that we discussed it.
Okay, that's
Frida
good.
and Richard was on the board also.
Yeah, that's
At the
good.
time, that we discussed the 20 mile an hour, changing it to 20 mile an hour. Yeah,
The speed limit sign changes, because I don't have any 20 mile an hour signs, $50 a sign.
okay,
I'm just,
Yeah.
And that's a rough ballpark, what do you figure?
Well, what we got of that,
And I told Andy that I think there's $553 or $533 left of that grant money
Okay.
that we could use for. the-
we'll apply for some other grants to help with this.
Just fixing the stop sign situation and doing all those, we're at $1,200.
Okay, but I can give those half of it, and then that will close out the money for the grant.
That'll take care of what he's got right now.
That I need to order.
No, he's got $1,200, I only have 500.
Okay, well, we'll get the other 700, okay.
Okay.
But eventually, and we'll do this at the next, eventually, we're gonna need to, that 20 mile an hour, I think we're gonna need to approach that.
You know, typically you're gonna take that out of NVH or local roads and streets. Cause you have both, right? NVH and local
Yes.
roads.
But we'll do an.
I think it's a good idea. There is a lot of kids and if we're gonna get the ball diamonds going again, there's a lot of kids coming around, running around up there and, which I think is really good. The ball diamonds are seeing some use again. Really
Been a
good.
long time.
Yes, it has.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, oh,
Andy, do you consider those orators and stuff like that?
See, Mike.
Thank you.
you.
You go take care of them?
Thanks, Mike.
So
Miss us.
they are treated just the same as a car.
Okay, so I can call it in.
They're treated the same as a car. They're supposed to be registered and things like that. I'm trying to go off the top of my head, so don't quote me. You know, they still have to be 16 and be registered.
On the golf
You have a
carts?
valid driver's license, those type of things to be able to operate on a public road.
what
So
are
you
we,
might have to look the exact state law up on that and exactly what.
Is that a golf cart?
is that golf carts or what are we talking about here?
No, she was talking about 18.
ATVs? Okay.
Um,
And a lot of towns have their own golf cart restrictions and that. And I
They
don't,
all require a license and these symbols.
and turn signals, brake lights, and yeah,
Same stuff that you have on your car.
Right. we haven't stepped into that big pond of water
Nope.
yet.
There is a golf cart ordinance in there, but it's very vague.
It's very bad.
Just
Oh,
slow moving vehicle sign and I think you had to be 16 to operate it.
I think it's got lighting is also required.
But I know Greensburg, if it's registered and everything, and got lights and stuff on it, you can drive them. Cause I've seen one last night come across the bypass out there
oh, good.
by
We ride them all the time.
They got it in Franklin. They got those.
Burger King.
I also have the quotes for the roads.
Okay,
This is just the typical, hey, there's three quotes there.
did, what's his name get with you to the county with?
Oh, Orman, no, me and him haven't got locked up yet, but we will. The first one there is on 850 east from 200 south to the tunnel. It's $26,975 to do a 2-inch overlay, things that need to be done on it. The next one should be 815 east. That's from, so that's 19,250, and then 195 and 825 intersection. That's that Y intersection right down here.
Yeah.
Where it's crumbling right there in front of Carrie Dean's house. There's $1,250 to patch that as well, so that total was not on there, so 22,000 roughly. Quick math in my head, probably dropped to zero, this is the other point, so. And then the third one is 820 east, and it's $22,870.
820 was that, right down here.
Too bad.
That, the one on 850 east, I have asked the people with the counties, because that's a main county road.
Mhm.
And before that was their road. We didn't have to,
That's why Charles only quoted to the tunnel.
okay.
I know after the tunnel gets where the split, who's responsible for whatnot, doing repairs and all that fun stuff.
I had asked the guy, not Craig Howe, the other guy. When I talked to him on the phone, and I said, when you guys fix that culvert down there, why don't you just pave from where Bill Hurd's house is, where they stopped? Just pave that right on up to 46, because that was really a main county highway road. It was yours. Somehow it ended up being flushed off to the town. He said, well, we'll see, because they got some extra money for blacktop in there. They've done a couple roads, but we'll see what happens. Okay.
Can we get a out by Billhurst, since they're coming in town, a slow sign, there's nothing out there by Billhurst to slow anybody down.
Speed limit sign,
How far out?
right there, close to Billhurst.
Yeah,
Is there?
there is.
Yeah.
Just look at it.
30 mile an hour sign.
Okay,
Need something on my street, Andy.
yeah.
Well, your street wasn't put in right.
I know that thing.
Okay.
Still got to speed down it, because I got a house down the end of the street, they fly down that road, every last one of them.
That's a
Okay.
big 60, right?
Anything else on alley, streets, and roads?
I
If,
think there's still parking in it.
If you need to, get
I think there's
those,
still parking in
if
it.
you approve something, let me know.
okay,
I'll let Charles know.
well, right now, we don't know how much money we're gonna have. That'll come up when, June something?
No, I thought.
You're supposed to have a meeting with that
Like
guy.
in
Yeah,
September, did we?
it was later.
We got a meeting with that guy on the budget coming up, right? You guys
Well, no, we just talked, shit on the phone, yeah, it has nothing to do with it.
Budget didn't come until later.
Okay, next up is a railroad, and, I still don't think they're gonna do anything until Honda shut down.
I called today and left a message.
All right, next up is waterways, wells, and vegetation. Their stuff's really just now starting to really grow. And hopefully when they fix that culvert down there through the underpass, they can bring their big backhoe up and clean that out on the south side of, what's this street here by the?
195.
195. Clean that out so it'll drain better. All right, any questions on that? If not, we're going to outbuildings and grounds. Mr. Ison said as soon as he gets his lift unstuck or whatever it is over there, and he gets a little time, he'll come up and fix that stuff on the side of the building out here. And Gary's gonna look into the rope for the flagpole.
Yeah, I'll get that
Okay,
flag down.
we'll get that figured out. Anything else with the outbuildings and grounds?
Yeah, we still need whenever it's dry enough to fill in those nice holes.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. If we need dirt, there's a big pile down there by the park. Inside the building, I just gotta get the 2 deadbolts on the office door yet. Anything else on the inside? Oh, what kind of signs did you guys want for, the
For the tobacco,
tobacco and that?
We
Them guys
We
are,
can get one.
we can just pick it up at Walmart.
okay,
We have a guy that chews and spits.
spits into the trash cans. And somebody else always has to empty that.
No,
They do.
he's gonna be spitting in a bottle and take it home with him. And I'll tell him that. He ain't spitting in trash cans. Spit in a bottle and take it home.
I totally agree. Anything else inside the building? Well, the rust's still there, so we're good. All right, budget and insurance, we're good there. Permits and ordinances. And I tell these guys, like Mr. Chris Miller wants to build them 2
Duplex.
duplexes over here on the old Hacker property. Now, the people that border that property, you should be notified when that's coming up in front of the area plan commit, where they vote, tell them yay or nay. But you are to be notified on that, just like this guy with the gas station. The people that border his property should be notified. If you have a voice in it, you can go there to that meeting. Is that correct, Andy? Okay, so, that there, and, Mr. Civet down there has to get that office building out of that down there. It's not big enough to put anything on it. That lot is small. And he has put the ground back the way it was. They've got a trench dug for a sewer line. And I think he already hooked the water or had the water run over that, but anyway. So that's his problem, not ours. That's him and Doug Westerfeld are having Doug's taking care of that. Anything else on permits and ordinances? Everybody understands that on them permits to do something. We just, we'll just sit here, let's say, well, yeah or no. But when it comes down to it, everything goes through area plan. Because the setbacks and how big your property, all that stuff. Okay? The courthouse and the lawyer, we have nothing right there right now. COVID-19 ready, ARPA, we're good there. Vehicles, Andy, you had your vehicle in for service and a recall.
Mhm.
Had to have a new battery,
Yep.
2 years old, and had to have a new battery.
The problem is all the auxiliary stuff that runs, so if you let it sit, once it's 2 days, 3, once it goes down, and tries to start it up, it never does exactly the same again. It gets weaker and weaker and weaker.
Is there anything else we need to do with it? Are we good to go? You
Should
got,
be good to go. They blew a radiator line, so I pulled up right behind a car on a traffic stop.
What about
Steam just started rolling out from underneath it.
oh, what'd you find out about your sidearm?
He is working on getting everything put together for me.
Okay,
I should have it maybe yet today. He was out traveling.
okay.
But it'll be from Keesler's out Jefferson.
Somebody made the thing to me that the old gun, since it's 25 years old, put it in the showcase and hang it on the wall here. This is a new point down here.
I told him we're gonna trade it in.
Okay, so is it worth anything at all?
It'll be in that price when I read that, they figure out what that's gonna be.
Okay, just,
So listen to Jen too, and he laughed, so.
somebody said we need to showcase it up here. But we're gonna do what you
Yeah,
think it's
so,
best.
yeah, he's working on that. He's doing, body armors tonight, this afternoon, so.
Okay, next up is the fire department.
We are taking orders for peaches again this year, Georgia peaches. You can go online, fire department's website, order them through there. They're same price as last year, $45 for a full box, $30 for a half box. Can place orders up till the 15th of June. And they'll be available for pickup the 28th and 29th of June, I believe it is. It's that last weekend of June. But we are taking peach orders again this year. But
All right.
trucks, everything's going good. I think we've gotten 2 or 3 new firefighters in the last 3 or 4 months, so things are still going good.
There are 2 things I forgot to bring up earlier. Stacy is to be voted on to be the designee to sign payroll timesheets for employees.
For me, mainly because I just feel funny since I've been started doing time sheets, put my name here and then put my name here and then sign my name. So Stacy can put my name in, her name sign it, and then my name, and then she can sign it.
And then Jeff will still sign
And
it.
then Jeff will still sign it.
The ones that I bring home, you sign.
That'll work. I make a motion that we approve that.
I second it.
Motion carried. Okay, let's see. Oh, and we had the carpets cleaned in here. I don't know if you can tell they look any cleaner in here and in the office. Mr. Gander did it, and I think he did it at a reasonable rate.
He did do it a reasonable rate. He said for me to call him back, and we just been waiting, because he said to watch the carpets for a while. And
I think
any of
they did
that
good.
stuff showed
Yeah.
back up, and he tried to get out, the stains and stuff.
It looks a lot brighter.
Give him a call back. The office has some issues, but you gotta realize that was the first time that office has been cleaned since it was put in. So he may not be able to get those up. He did say we're gonna have to call him back and let him know when he comes back and reevaluate it.
Okay, under events, Gary talked about the peach deal at the fire department. The other thing is, I have talked with Crackaway Days members of their committee and that. There will be no Crackaway Days this year. They hope to have a few fundraisers, try and generate some money for startup money, but they are still in the works of everything. They really do not know.
Will there be a chicken dinner at the fire department in July?
Yes, chicken supper in
All
July.
right, next up is Mr. Hadler with his police report.
We already covered the gun deal, so that's good to go.
Do you have a date yet, the chicken supper, Gary?
Pardon?
Do you have a date?
Last Friday in July.
Last.
Yes, well, last Friday in July.
So for April 23 traffic stops, not being citations, 14 warnings and 29 calls.
Any questions for Andy?
How many citations was it?
Nine.
Be the 25th of July.
25th of July is the fire department chicken dinner. Now then, since we went through everything, any other questions from patrons or anything? That it?
You got to make a motion.
I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move with Adjourn.
Gary Wolford motioned it and Kelly seconded it. Meeting is adjourned for the month of May. Hope to see everybody next month here.